All right, guys, this is Inside the North Side coming to you from the North Side. I have a very, very special guest with me. If you guys could give a round of applause to Amanda Solis. Welcome, Amanda, to the show.
Yeah, dang, that's a big crowd, man.
So, how are you, Amanda? How's your week been going so far?
I'm doing pretty good. Super busy, celebrating Selena's life and legacy. Especially this was a big year, her, turning 50. So yesterday was a very big day for me, which usually is. Unfortunately, last year was such an unusual year for us, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year it was just great to be back in front of people and performing and being out there to touch and talk to the audience and sing with the audience. And so yeah, it's just been super busy. I started off in Buda and did a performance there, and literally packed up, left to San Antonio, performed over there at Sky Bar and in San Antonio, and it was amazing. So just like nonstop.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw that you were gonna have two performances. I actually have a cousin of mine. Him and his family live in Buda, so I know the drive from Buda to San Antonio is like a good maybe 45 minutes, almost an hour, I think, kind of like that.
Right.
But yeah, you're a superhero. I mean, pretty much you're going from here to here, and just I can
Well, I'm not
imagine how
doing it by
tired you
myself,
are.
man. I got a team that's helping me out, and that's what matters the most is that I actually have a really good team that supports me, and we all have the same vision, and we're just like, let's get it. I mean, we have so much passion in what we do, and I enjoy it, and I'm thankful for all the people in the audience that enjoy what it is that I do. So yeah,
Well, shout out to your
it's
team. I
my thing.
mean, they keeping you doing everything and got your back and everything. That's great.
Yes.
So
Well, I hope so.
yeah. So Amanda, tell us a little about you. Where'd you grow up? Are you native Texan?
Yes, I was born and raised in Texas, actually Texas City, Texas, which most people are like, what? The easiest way that I can say, I'm close to the island and right by the plants. We're all polluted. So that's where I was born and raised. So I got an extra little arm back here growing, from
Shout out to Texas City.
exactly, yeah, that's my hometown. Everybody in Texas City, what's up? But yeah, so born and raised here in Texas. My family was actually born and raised in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all from, except for my other sister, she was actually born here with me. I'm the baby of the family out of four. And so everybody else was born in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, that is negative. That's where originally my family's from. And then I also have some family in San Antonio as well. But yeah, so I mean, how everything started, is that where we're going to go?
Yeah, pretty much. How did so where did you go to high school, and just how was it like for you growing up, around on all that?
Well, I would say, okay, so I was born in Texas City, Texas. I graduated from Texas City. And I grew up just like your average person. I'm still like your average person next door. I still live there. I still live in the same home. Not the one that I was raised in, but
Mm-hmm.
of course, my husband and I live in after I graduated. And, I played sports. I was very involved in sports. My parents, unfortunately, growing up, originally they were born and raised in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, was inspired to be an entrepreneur. So what family that we have here now that multiplied into the big family that we have here now,
Yeah.
like, is because of my dad. He brought everybody down. He wanted to open up his own business, which he did, which is still open till this day. However, again, unfortunately, my mom and my dad passed away whenever I was 6 years old, and in a very unfortunate, car accident. Unfortunately, that just happened, and so that was a big toll and a big change on all of our lives, because at that moment in time, our life had stopped. Being that my parents were the key holders, and the business that my dad had opened, which is Solis Paint and Body.
Mm-hmm.
He was a mechanic, and he did a lot of body work and things like that, which, like I said, is still open and it's still ran by my family. But we were so young that we ended up, passing that business on to them so they could, continue to do what they did, what my dad did. And so that's the reason why we ended up coming down here. So after my parents had passed away, thankfully I was so grateful that I had, my siblings that were older than me. And I didn't have to bounce, foster home to foster home. I
Mm-hmm.
actually had my sister and my brother, being that they were super young too, 18, 19 years old at the time,
Wow.
going back and forth, trying to figure out, what to do with me and my other middle sister. So my sister was the one that ultimately took us in and raised us. And like I said, I went to school. I graduated from high school. I went to college, and I originally went to school for real estate. That's actually what I went and I got certified. And I was in sales ever since. And it's kind of funny how everything, just transitioned over to where we're about to get into like the Selena stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, my parents, being that, we were born and raised here, I was introduced to Tejano music because of them. They spoke nothing but Spanish. So that's where I am, which my Spanish is very broken, but I could still, speak it, write it, and read it. But it's very, como like every time I talk to people, I'm like, está bien quebrado, pero sí puedo hablarle. I can talk it, but it's very broken. It's like my slang, my technique.
Yeah, yes.
And, but I'm just so grateful that people still appreciate that, and I love, I'm very proud of being Mexican American. But again, my parents, had all, we had, our morals were that, family was unity, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they were here, we had barbecues to bring the family. We had every excuse to just have a get together,
There's always never an excuse for us to, like, we're going to have a party for what, man? For whatever. It doesn't matter.
It didn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Because today's a beautiful day. We're going to party,
exactly.
Or whatever. We're going to party, and that's just how it was. So like we had my grandmother, that lived with us. We had my tias, my brothers, my cousins that we considered brothers. And my family would always, my dad and my mom would always take in people. So our house was always full. And so listening to music, growing up, you already know Mexicanos compete about everything.
Exactly.
We're in competition 24/7. It's like, oh, so you think you're the fans more chingón, okay? Right? You do, okay, I can do it better. And so we were always outside barbecuing. And so listening to that music growing up, I didn't not know Selena until, she was still in her younger years.
Yeah.
Still, she was still getting popular. And so I didn't see her up until later in life. But, listening to Vicente Fernandez, seeing my grandma dance over there, throwing her chones and everything,
Oh, wow.
She's like trying to break it. No, I'm joking, but I like to make people laugh. But she's out there really like some of Peritos, trying to get into it, and we're all competing on who dances better and stuff. And it just, those are the things that my parents were all about. Just family, unity, and working hard and just living a good life. That's what they wanted. But unfortunately, their life was cut short. And so, again, later on, living with my sister, Selena, I remember the first time that I had seen her on TV, and I was like, holy macaroni. She was performing live for in Monterey. And she had that white crop top shirt, fitted shirt,
mm-hmm.
with the black leather skirt with medias on, and had the black country style boots. And I was just like, holy macaroni, she looks so much like my mom. Maybe not so much like in the features, but again, she kind of did,
Yeah.
But it was her style. Well, again, that was the late 80s, the early 90s. You got the Madonna, the Janet Jackson, the Paula Abduls that wore the bustiers, the high-waisted pants, and had every excuse to wear a bolero jacket, crop top, mopping the floor. That was my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Heels, costume jewelry. And so when I seen her, I was just like, wow, and taken back by it, and never thought anything after that. Of course, I was still, young, super young. And after that, it was the first time that I had gotten told that I resembled her. It was like my quinceañera. And I took it with a grain of salt. I loved her music. And it was just like something later in life that I never thought. I went to school. I got my education. I had my career going. I still had that career, but I put it on the back burner because of the fact that I've had such blessings throughout the years. So I actually entered a karaoke contest because my friend was like, hey, girl, let's go out. Let's go out and have a good time. Like, this is our time to find an excuse to go do something fun, right?
Yeah.
So she was like, hey, let's go do something. And she was like, my friend is going to be there, and she's going to be doing a karaoke contest. She was a DJ.
Yeah.
And her name is Mama Cass. And so we go there. Long story short, she ends up entering me in this contest without me knowing. And I was like, girlfriend, I'm going to break these windows. Are you crazy? These people are going to run out. Like, they don't understand. I'm in a country gay bar, by the way.
Okay.
Here in Kima, Texas, And I'm like, they're not going to know Spanish. And you entered me singing Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. Nobody's going to they're going to be like, what the hell is this? And so for fun, she was like, girl, I'll sign you up for 2 free drinks. And I'm like, hey, where do I go? Let me go do it. It's just for fun.
Get us anything
and I'm
going.
joking with her. That's our personality. Like, we're joking around and stuff. And so I ended up singing Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. And not thinking anything. And I did not realize at that time that how serious people took karaoke contests.
Yes.
I didn't know. People literally, because they're wanting to win the money. I didn't even know that you can win a huge jackpot. That was never in my lineup. I never thought about doing stuff like that. And so I did. And the whole bar, I'm not even lying to you, it didn't even matter. That's what's so beautiful about Selena's music and what, she represented, that it didn't even matter. There was no barrier. There was no language barrier. There was no type of barrier. What color your skin is, what language you speak. It didn't matter what you look like, You don't have to be categorized. The entire, like, they didn't even know the words, but they were like, bitty, bitty, bum, bum, bitty, 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 the whole time. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
this is cool,
it's very crazy.
Again, just exactly. I was in shock. I thought these people were going to be like, okay, why isn't she singing like Dolly Parton or something else in our lineup, and it wasn't even like that. They were out there, were like more, more, and I was like, this was just a one-time thing. And come to find out that it was an actual real contest that day. There was like 25 people that first round, and I ended up getting first place.
Wow.
And it was just like, I know, right? I swear, like, it was just, I can't make, like, I'm not a great storyteller, okay? I swear. I did just, these things just happened, and right after that, she was like, well, girlfriend, let me tell you, she was like, you won. You got like a little gift certificate for like $50 for whatever. And she goes, but this is going to take you to the next round. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that there was a next round. And so the second time I kind of was like, well, I kind of wanted to take it a little bit more seriously. And I was like, well, shoot, I had so much fun doing it then. Why not do it better this time? Mm-hmm. So I figured in my mind, let me contact my sister that raised me, because my mom dressed a lot like Selena. Mind you, I never thought in my mind of being an impersonator or what an impersonator was. I've mm-hmm. seen, Marilyn Monroe. I've seen Elvis Presley, out there in Vegas and, all these things for shows. But I never thought a Latina, never thought anything like that. This was just for fun. Mm-hmm. And so I contacted my sister. And so we were going through my mom's old things. Mind you, we haven't been through these boxes in years. Mm-hmm. We didn't really talk about it because you understand that it's a very touchy subject. And, my sister had all that stuff in the house that we were raised in. So, you're just opening up all these can of worms, that you haven't talked about for years.
Yeah.
And so we were looking for different clothes. And I was just like, I'm just looking for something to wear that mom had, because it looked a lot like those times. Mm-hmm. And so we went through all these boxes, and everything was because of Texas weather. It's so hot, it just got eaten away. Really.
Yeah.
It lost its, elasticity, all her stuff, and it was just heartbreaking because you realize that you're losing. Ooh, I'm getting a lump in my throat. Everything's dwindling away. Everything's mm-hmm. going away. The smell, you can't smell her anymore. You forget what she looks like. You forget all these things. And so after we finished everything, I just kind of felt like my sister was just kind of fed up with it. And it's just kind of funny how God kind of worked. It's, his magic. And there was one last box. And she was like, hey, there's one more thing that we can open up. And I was like, I was already devastated by that point. I was like, I'm not going to find anything in there. Mm-hmm. And we opened up the box. And sure enough, like after everything, we're like, man, and there's this one jacket that's just like whole. And it just seemed like it was just like she packed it for me later on. And like, I don't know. By this time, I'm already fully developed, right? Yeah. I was 6 years old when she passed away. I'm trying to fit in her shoes, and there's no way for me to fill those shoes, And it was just crazy. So I pulled it out, and it's a jacket that resembled Selena's. It was a jacket that she wore in El Dorado. It was actually one of the last performances that she did before she passed away, which everybody has a misunderstanding with the Astrodome. That's not the last performance that she did. But she had that bolero jacket with the green and the black swirls that had the penguin tails and shorts.
Yeah.
And anyways, it just, my mom's looked like that one, but a little bit different. It didn't have the penguin tails, but I was like, what's the odds? But again, it was that time, maybe mm-hmm. the same shopping centers, who knows? It just, what's the odds? And I wore it for that performance and didn't ever think that this performance would have become what it was. Well, social media, in our lifetime, everything is going to go viral.
Yeah.
Well, not everything, but I'm saying everybody has access to, putting posts everywhere. And, well, that's what happened for my next song. I decided to sing Que Querías, which is one of my favorite songs to perform by Selena. And mind you, I was just practicing on this. This is something that I wasn't like, oh, I got this going on. I've been doing this for years. I'm going to show up. No, it was just for fun,
Yeah.
And I went out there, and it's an interactive song. And I performed it. I didn't win first place. I got second. But what I won in reality, was something that I feel like God planted the seed. And knowing that when I was younger, I just wasn't ready. And I feel like He kind of watered it later on in life, because He knew that I would be more prepared and more, a lot smarter and more aware of what's going on. And anyways, but yeah, so whenever I did that second performance, all these videos people were filming ended up on YouTube, ended up on Instagram, ended up on Facebook. All of a sudden I started getting all these phone calls. I knew about Messenger, but I didn't know, I never like fiddled with it. I wasn't very savvy with that stuff. All of a sudden I started receiving phone calls and I was like, who's these people calling me?
Really?
Like, yeah, I've never had that before. You know, I'm a very private person. So you have no idea how hard it was for me when I first started transitioning to this, like into this. I was like, well, how are people going to know about me if I shut myself off? You know, I was a very private, like, this is my life. You know, I wasn't very in tune with social media at the time. And so it's just funny going into it. And I finally, after like the 100th time that this lady, Maria, was calling me, which is crazy to talk about now, because it was the first performance that I did. She begged me, as a Mexicana, you can never turn down a Mexican, okay? You already know that. My abuela's going to be like, you didn't eat? You better eat. Because if you don't eat, you're going to hurt her feelings, okay? She's going to be really pissed.
She's the same way.
She's going to be really pissed off at you if you don't eat, even if you just ate. You better know that you go over there and you better not eat, okay? And so, like, for her, she was like, oh my God, I've seen your performances and you're a Selena impersonator. I've never seen one before and I love you. And my daughter is a huge Selena fan and we need to hire you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm serious. Like, I'm like, I'm just talking to her. I'm not FaceTiming like you. I'm like, okay. And I was like, where did you see these videos? Come to find out, you know, all these from that performance just went everywhere. And she was just like, well, I want to book you. And I was like, well, I've never done this before. That was just for fun. And she kind of like launched that for me. It was just like, well, you're going to do it. You're going to do it and you're going to love us and we're going to be family, you know?
Wow.
And she seemed really cool. She was just like one of my tias, you know? I just felt like I was listening to my tia and I'm like, okay, tia, voy a hacerlo. Okay, we're going to do it. And it just ended up being amazing because after that, so I performed for her. She told me that her daughter had Down syndrome. She told me that she wanted to do a quinceañera. Well, come to find out she was turning 45 years old.
Wow.
And she's, you know, been raising her for a long time. And, you know, people, you know, with Down syndrome don't really live a long life, which that's a pretty long life. And unfortunately, which is crazy, that's what I'm saying, talking about her. Her name is Nelda. And that was the first performance that I did. And she just recently passed away because of COVID.
Oh, wow.
And just, I know my heart is pounding just talking about it because they ended up donating. So they were like, I seen you. It looks like, what are you? I want you to wear the purple jumpsuit. Like, I already have, like, basically they thinking that I have like the whole lineup. I'm like, I've never done this before. And they're thinking that I did because I sang this one song and that was the only video that they've seen. And it went viral, you know, and they were like, oh my God. And so after that, I became friends with them. We talked for a while. I met the lady. We sat down and I met her at a Starbucks. So I was like, I don't know if somebody's gonna meet me and be crazy. I don't know who this was. I had a friend go with me and she ended up hiring me. And she was like, what would you charge? And I was like, I wouldn't charge you. I was like, I don't even think I'm worth anything, you know? And she started laughing. She's like, you're worth the world to me. How you have no idea what this would mean for my daughter. You know, she's a huge Selena fan. You have no idea. She goes, until you meet her, she goes, I'm so upset that I can't, because it's a surprise. I don't want you to know, but she ended up donating the purple jumpsuit. She had it made for me.
Wow.
I know, right? I performed for her at her quinceañera, which, you know, Mexicanos have a huge family. There was like 250 plus people there, you know, and it was my first time. So I'm like, like these people are going to judge me. It was amazing. I might have not been my best at that point, but I've gradually gotten better, but it's just crazy how that all evolved. And the next thing I know, from that time, not even considering myself an impersonation, it was just doing it and paying it forward, you know, doing something nice, and evolved into what it was. And all of a sudden, I started getting calls from everybody else, people that wanted to book me for quinceañeras, for birthdays. I've done funerals. I've done baby showers. I've home parties. I performed for Dr. Phil in Hollywood. Yes. They contacted us and I performed for Dr. Phil for his son's 30th birthday. And in Hollywood, it was like words can't even explain. It was just like kind of virtual reality stuff. It was like super awesome. I performed for the White Sox in front of like 45,000 people at the White Sox game in Chicago. And I performed for the Dallas Mavericks. I played Selena in a docudrama on Reels, which is still out now. So it's just amazing how just one little seed was planted and watered, and all of a sudden it just became very like in demand. And I was invited out to see Selena's first reveal of her wax figure in Hollywood, and I met the family. and which that was really cool, very respectful, and just to see Selena kind of like not in the flesh, but
In the
it
wax.
just was like, yeah, in the wax, and it was just like I was taken back, but what a privilege. And I think it's great because like she represents so many things for us, especially like me coming, being my family being born and raised in Mexico, that are coming down here to literally to build a better life for themselves and us as family, to live the American dream.
Hmm.
And as brown people, and I think what she represented for many people was brown hope, and being Mexican and being proud. And I think, nowadays, just there's not very many Mexican examples like that. There's not very many examples. And so, she meant a lot to me as a Mexican American, for a family that was fighting to work hard and finally build something. But unfortunately, her life was cut short,
Yes.
and that was devastating. And I think that was so tragic for so many different people, not just her, it was everybody, because like this was a whole unity, because she represented so many things to so many different people. And I mean, even myself, your next door neighbor, she represented so many things for me, and she's broken so many barriers for a lot of people like us that didn't think that we could be doctors and we could be lawyers. And I feel like that song, Doctors and Lawyers and such. Sorry. Anyways, squirrel moment. But yeah, it's just funny, but we can too. We should be able to do what we want to too. And she's allowed me as a Mexican American, knowing that my family spoke nothing but Spanish, and coming down here and living a better, my parents giving us a better life. And for her building this example that we can too live that American dream. And that's what she's done for me and for many people, and so, and there's not very many Mexican examples out there like her, Mexican American. And I'm just thankful that I grew up in those ages, and that I was introduced to those time frames. So it's just, I feel very fortunate. I feel very grateful that this came into what it is, because she paved the way for someone like me that came from nothing. Well, I didn't come from nothing, but lack of better words.
Yeah.
To let me know that I can too live the American dream, and that's what it evolved to. So I've been, performing as Selena, paying tribute to her with the utmost respect. At the end of the day, I know I'm Amanda Solis, and she's allowed me to know that I can too have my own career. And I decided to, even though I already went to school and I got my education and I got certified in real estate, and I already had a career for myself, now I signed with a record label, and I'm currently about to release my EP with my own music. So, I mean, there's just so many great things that have come out of this, and I do not boast in this. I'm just super grateful. And yeah, and in the biggest nutshell for you, that's how everything, I'm just so passionate about it when I talk about it. So I can go on for days, because I'm just, like I said, I'm not a great storyteller. I'm just super grateful. And this is what the reality is. And this is what it is. And it's allowed me, I've been traveling all around, have the privilege to travel all around the United States. Unfortunately, whenever COVID had came in, knocking at the door and came in and barged in, and everything stopped, I was booked for 2020. Now 2020 is in 2021.
Yeah.
And 2021, new people are rolling into 2022 and 2023. So it's just like, wow. And I'm thankful for everybody that, continues to follow me and continue to love what it is that I do, and know that they too, for me to lead an example like Selena left for me, it's like, you're handing down the baton to other people, to let, to people and children nowadays, to let them know that they can too. They can too. Just because we're Mexicanos doesn't mean that we have to go and be your traditional housekeeper. I'm going to, cut your lawn. You don't have to be those people. They're very hard workers. And I have, my whole family is like that. And I do have people that are, in my family that are hard workers and are construction workers and they have their own businesses, as yardmen and things of that nature. But again, kids, to know that they don't have to take that route. There is room for everybody, and especially Mexicanos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing your story is great. Selena has had a huge impact in my life as well. My mother and her kind of were born on the same day. So they grew up in the same time. You know, my mom and my parents, my whole family loves Selena. You know, they have magazines, they have videotapes recorded of performances in which she did interviews. You know, and when she passed away, it affected, you know, a lot of people, especially my parents, because, you know, they're huge fans. So, you know, the first time I experienced Selena was watching the movie with Jennifer Lopez. And
Of course.
as a child, I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, okay, I don't know who this is. But I remember I remember the movie vividly when I was young. And as I got older, I started, okay, this is Selena. Okay, why is she a big, important deal to everybody? So as I got older, I started learning more. And now I appreciate her so much. It's like you said, she's like our brown hope. I mean, the way and in the TV series, you know, they worked very hard. She was doing shows with her brother and her sister, and
Yes.
you know, working very, very hard.
Yes.
And you know, because they had to, that's how they had to eat, and you know, to provide for their family, and to see what she became is so amazing. You know, and like you said, we don't have to follow the cliche. We don't have to be farmers. We don't have to be construction. We can be doctors and lawyers and musicians and entrepreneurs and stuff like that, because that's why a lot of the Hispanics and Latinos come to America, because it's like, this is the land of opportunity. And you know, they want their kids to grow up and be in the best educational system and stuff like that. And you know, like I said, it's very amazing how she's changed the landscape for everybody. And you know, there's not that many people who have made a huge impact as her. I mean, you have your Jennifer Lopez's, you have certain other artists, but Selena just takes the cake, and it's like everybody strives to be like Selena, you know.
Of course.
And you know, over the years, I've met people who've known her personally. I have my girlfriend's aunt, her brother is in La Mafia. So, you know, they knew Selena, they toured with her, they knew her personally, you know, she's met her as well. So, you know, every time you hear something about Selena from people who knew her, they always had something great to say about her. She was very nice, she was bubbly, she was very sweet, she had a smile, and, you know, it's like, that's who you strive to become, you know, like somebody who has a good person, a point of view on life, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, hearing your story, how that little seed was planted, and then you started doing these and started doing it. You did that's crazy. You did something for Dr. Phil. I mean, Dr. Phil just asked, Amanda, can you do my show for my son? You know,
Right? You could have seen Jessica and I whenever. So the funny. Oh, sorry, when I talk with my hands, I'm very. Anyways, but yeah. So they were very quiet about. We knew it was a big thing, and it was for someone big.
Yeah.
But they don't want like TMZ and all these other people knowing about it, because it's supposed to be just a private party with their own friends and, you know, their, you know, whatever, family and stuff. And so they didn't want it to know where it was going to be at, but it's in Hollywood, and they rented out this huge building, you know, and we didn't know up until like 5 minutes. 5 minutes literally before they were like, okay, so you're going to be performing. So Dr. Phil's going to, and his wife and the family are going to be entering this room. You're going to be performing for her son, Jordan. It's his 30th birthday. And we were like, you're lying, right?
This is a joke, right? Where's this? You got me.
Yeah, like we were like, how the hell do we even fit in this? Like, I'm this little Mexican girl out of all these people that are super privileged, you know, and I mean, very successful people. And here we are from old Tech City, you know what I mean? Houston, Texas, you know, and we're in the in the pot with the big rigs, like they're in, it's like, and go. And it was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on? So I'm looking at her, you know, like my eyes are huge, and I'm like, my stomach's bubbling. I didn't know what's going to happen.
I can imagine your mind was just going like, how do I process this? What do I do? What do I sing? You know what? It's crazy.
You see people passing out pizza on these beautiful plates filled with roses and like things that we don't see on an average day, like they do. Like they probably wake up and they're like, you know, your breakfast is served, you know, who knows, you know, because I mean, they made it already, you know, we're trying to make it. And so for me, it was like, we know we made it today. We were, you know, like we're famous now, just kidding. But it was just like, what the heck? Like, how do we fit in this? Like, we looked like oddballs. Like, it was just so but it was great. They were so kind. The mom was getting up dancing. She was into it. Afterwards, not to make him sound like he was perverted, because I know the way that I
Yeah.
talk passionately, he grabbed me and basically it seemed like he wanted me to sit on his lap, but he was just like bringing me in. His wife was right next to us, so I was like, in between them and then the family, and he's like grabbing me and like he's all on me, very thankful, thanking me, telling me that it was a great show, and just so thankful. And at the end of the night, he was like, "Y'all have a good time, enjoy yourselves." And me and Jessica like blinka, 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 like what's going on? And we end up eating all lavish with these people, and there they are, just like a arm's length away,
Hmm.
sitting there, just like they're having little cafecito with each other, and we're over here like, is this really happening?
It's crazy. It's crazy how Selena has transcended all kinds of
Everywhere.
races everywhere. I mean, like you were saying the story about how you entered the karaoke contest.
Yeah.
There's places where I've gone where as soon as you hear the one note of bitty bitty bum bum, everyone just goes crazy. And it can be whites, could be blacks, could be Asians, could be it could be anybody.
There's no barrier on skin color, language, nothing.
And they'll sing it perfectly. And it's like, I thought you said you didn't speak Spanish. He was like, I don't, but I love bitty bitty bum bum.
And they managed to just, they hear it and they mimic it. And it's crazy. I know, I've been through it.
It is.
So many different parties that you would have been like, what? We were just talking about it earlier. Cinco de Mayo is like obviously huge day. And I've been, invited out to perform for different parties. And at one time I was in a bunch of white-based family, upper class, downtown, had a condo, super nice. I just am like, okay, do you need me to take off my shoes before I walk in? Like, what do we do?
Do you have slippers for me?
I am. Selena, and they're all just, oh, Selena's here, and it's like, how do you even know? How do you know her? But again, like we were both telling each other, it's just, there's no barrier with her. Like everybody enjoys her, and
And I think it's kind of like with the early mid 2000s and then kind of to the 2010s, she blew up. Everything kind of just like exploded for her more, because I think with the Quintanilla family, they started putting out more stuff.
Right. And the wax, I think for me, like what I realized, because I was before the whole like bang, the bang, I was already doing this, which was crazy because I thought this was just for fun and nothing more was going to come of it. I'm still working my day job, and I'm here, I am, doing this for, good. I was doing a lot of donating backpacks and things like that, back to school stuff, Dress as Selena, just because people wanted it. They were inviting me. It wasn't me just making it up. People were like, hey, I heard. But again, it just, they wanted more. And then all of a sudden, when the wax figure, because when was there ever a Latino wax figure before Selena?
I haven't really thought of any in a while.
Was there ever Latino impersonations?
It's funny. It's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling him about like, hey, I'm going to interview Amanda. And he was like, it's pretty weird how there wasn't any Selena impersonators until you. And now that you did it with the bang and you're all over the country, there's a lot of more people, especially on TikTok and Instagram. There's a lot of more Selena impersonators. And I was like, where did you come from? And it's like, it's so amazing how, like I said, your little seed planted everything, and now it's kind of like it's taken this whole Selena craze, just.
Oh more. Yeah, it really has. Yes, it really has, and that's why I'm saying I would have never imagined that it would evolve. It's just God planted the seed at the right time, and then all that. But it's great because it's still. Selena would have always been relevant. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's such a privilege too, because to lead by example, to have someone to look up to, and now other people can look up to me, and I think that's great. And I try to lead, by great example. I try, my best to be the best, role model for people. And again, to portray Selena in the best manner, in the best way that I can, because honestly, personally, I don't know her like that. I know her from her videos and, the stories that people have told me, the people that I've met, and all the performances that I went, all around the United States that people shared with me. It's amazing on how much I was able to touch these people. Like, people have me performing for their funerals.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's kind of out of the ordinary, but it's so
right. You think it's kind
comforting.
of crazy, right? And for them, I'm still speechless. I don't even know. There's no words for that. So to be able to be that, and to Selena led by example, and what I see in her, and what, and continue that, and to have other people let them know brown people like myself can do this.
Yeah.
That's what I always want to represent that, because I'm so proud. Look, I didn't even realize that I'm wearing my hat, even though it's Houston, Texas, the Astros, but I mean, I'm super proud. I mean, because that's where my family's from.
So I know that you were saying that you got to do the Chicago White Sox, and perform for them. Have the Astros reached out to you yet?
No, what's the deal with that? And my family was like, dude, like, how are you gonna go over there? And I was like, hey, Astros, they lost out, but that would be amazing, especially representing my own hometown. And again, to lead by example and let other people know you can do that too. I'm just a little girl from Texas City with a little arm back here from the plant,
I'm waiting for them. I was like, yo, when y'all gonna? Because I know they do have kind of like Latin nights.
If you got a connection, go ahead and put that out there.
I think I might know somebody, who knows, but yeah.
But it'd be cool, right? Because they literally gave me this whole. So after the game, so I threw the first pitch. Like, only big people really do that.
Yeah.
Who does that? So, you see these people like Olympians and gymnasts and things like that. They're the first pitch, or other people, the role, big time people. And so for me to have to do that and as a tribute, and again, as a Mexican American, yes, we're making it.
Yeah.
And it was just cool. And then finally getting to the part to where I performed, and I was like thinking, the stadium's going to be.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if you go back and look at the videos that Jessica had, I wish that everybody that supported me were able to be there to see that, because it would just show you that you can too. Even though other people are like, no, you're this, you're that. You just keep doing what you love, and it was just amazing. And I turn around and here I am, they dim all the lights. And here I am on the stadium, in the grass where they play ball, and like that sacred ground, you have to be, ball player, and there's the ball players lined up on the side to watch my performance. And then I look around and there's like 45,000 people plus. Who knows? I didn't really count everybody, but it just was amazing for me as a Mexican American to be in that situation, to be able to portray such an icon like Selena, and to represent something so beautiful, and let people know that brown people have hope, that we can do it. And there I am, and the crowd is just in awe, just yelling and stuff. And it's just, it's amazing. I'm super grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to represent something like this.
And it's funny because like what it says in the TV show, Abraham tells, I forget who he told in the series, but he's like, Selena's success is your success, and because she made it, that means we can make it too. Me being a musician as well, I looked up to Selena.
Are?
Yeah, I am a musician. I play guitar and I play bass. I do singing for my
church.
You got
a band?
I used to be in a band.
What? Well, you need to make a band, and then we could play together.
That'd be fun.
Can you?
I could.
I need it.
So the intro music that you heard.
Another sideline band. So when I go other places, I'm gonna be like, hey man, I need a band, because I couldn't take my other one.
So the intro music that you heard, I actually did that myself. So I did it through GarageBand and
really?
Yeah. So it was funny because I used to be in bands all throughout high school, and when I graduated, I was in a couple bands here and there. I played at some places around here, Houston, locally. But after a while, I couldn't find anything, something that was fitted for me, because I'm a chameleon. I like playing indie music. I like rock music. I like all kinds of different music, but I couldn't find somebody that could fit my form. So pretty much, I took a break, and then I had went to Comic Palooza that we have here in Houston, and I was talking to my girlfriend's uncle, because he does stuff in Comic Palooza, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to start a podcast. And he was like, really? He's like, why? Like, why do you want to start a podcast? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I should do this. So I started at the of October 2019. and I've been doing it since then, and I love it. It's kind of replaced me being in a band. It's because it's so fun. I don't have to worry about practice schedules. I don't have to worry about other members of the band. It's kind of like I work on my own time. I work on my own pace. I still get to meet great people like you. I've got to meet, Mija Culture. They're friends of mine, and some other people as well.
Mija Cultura, yeah. They're good friends of mine too. They've always supported me. They've come out to my shows, and they've given me different merch and stuff to represent them. That's awesome.
They've been on the show before. I have an episode with them. So, but Joanne, I know her because I went to high school with her. So, but it's great because it's like being in a band, but it's like a one-man band, pretty much podcasting. But yeah, I'm a music. I play in church. I sing in church. I've been doing that since I was like 10 years old. I'm not the best musician, but
so you sound like the real deal. Okay, so you're trying to sell me, see? Okay, so now this is the deal. You're from Houston, right?
Yes, of course, born and raised.
Okay, perfect. You're right down the street. Now you're gonna have to come. I'm gonna open up my front door. You're gonna have to come over here and meet me.
I got it.
We're gonna have to get practice together. Where's the band?
It's funny, and it's just like I said, Selena's music. Growing up, listening to her music, like I said. Tejano music, all kinds of music, all Spanish music was heard all throughout the house, parties, quinceañeras, whatever,
because there's nothing else, and as a matter of fact, after I performed at Sky Bar, we were out there, and of course, we're interacting with other people and just having a great time afterwards, just relaxing after the show and stuff, and there they are playing all the Tejano music, and you could see all the, them getting together and dancing, it's, because that's all there is, there's no more Tejano music. Yeah, oh my God, Ramon Ayala came on and everybody was just like, shoot, like, everybody's out there dancing. I'm over here dancing by myself and stuff, but yeah, I mean, because that's what we would listen to, there's nothing else, now there's new music and like they always say, it dwindled out there.
But nothing comes close to Tejano music, it's native to Texas, and it's the native to the Latinos that were born here, and it's just it's so good. There's nothing else that sounds just like it. I mean, I have people in LA. They have the oldies. They have their music. You got people from Miami and Florida. You got people in New York. They have their music, but Texas Tejano music is just it's its own beast, but it's so great. Yeah. There's so many different styles, so many different artists that just bring the Tejano culture music it's like it's gold. It's pretty much it's gold, and it's like, here, check this out, and with the beauty of Spotify and Pandora and all that, it's reached out to so many people around the world. People in Cuba listen to Tejano music now. People in Russia can listen to it, and it's like the music that used to have a big impact from the 90s and kind of mid 2000s a little bit is still making an impact today, because there's tons of people that want to be Tejano bands, and it's like, there hasn't been a Tejano band in like 30 years, but they're like, shoot, we're gonna start one, we're gonna do one, let's get the guitar, let's get the accordion, let's get all this going,
Look, I told you I need you as a band.
I think I can find some people. Let me find some people.
Do it. He's like, here we go, like, take off.
But like I said, I love music. I love all kinds of music. Amanda, what kind of other music do you listen to other than, some of the Tejano stuff like listen to? Like, what do you have, like rock? Do you like soul?
As of lately, to be honest with you, I've been listening to a lot of Jenny Rivera. Well, because obviously, with the whole series that came out, I don't even, have you seen that?
I have seen it. It's on my Netflix watch list, so I have to check that out.
Okay, so you got to watch it. Okay, definitely. Like, even like me and my friends and people that I've told, they're like, I don't speak Spanish. All of a sudden, they're like glued to it because it's so raw and it's so real. I did not know. I knew of Jenny. I knew. I've heard corridos. I've heard that style of music. Not ever really been my favorite because obviously, we're hardcore Tejanos. And for me, it was very hard for me to get into. I would listen to it, but again, I wasn't raised on that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I was raised on it, but then after, learning more about her, I just had a whole different respect for her. And because she was real, no matter what, she was like, this is me raw. Like me or not, I don't, literally, I don't give, And in that series, it shows everything, even when before she became popular, and famous, even during fame, she, talked about a lot of things that a lot of people don't like to talk about, or it's taboo to talk about, like sexual assault, and sexual abuse within the family. Most of the time it does happen within the family because it's easy access, and to see all these things. So not only watching that series and knowing that she's going through real stuff, I'm like, wait, like I relate to some of this stuff. Like she's real. It's not like all this sugar coated and, oh, she's so pretty and she worked hard and she made it. Ding, like that's it. No, it was like she was like G.I. Joe in it. You know what I'm saying? Getting punched left and I did a right. It's a right hook. Left, uppercut, and stabbed, and this, all these crazy things, that's happened to her in her life that we're just like, now this is real. Let's just be real. I'm a real person. I want you to know that I'm a real, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I'm just your average person. We all go through shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where I gained all this respect for her and her family, to see all the struggles that they had to go through to finally get where they are. So, they're not privileged. They had a lot of disadvantages into getting to where she was. And unfortunately, she lost her life too at a young age. And she was one of the biggest socorridos for me. I have a different, and her music is, for me, I just have a different outlook on it. I have a different respect for it. So to answer your question, that's who I've really been like in tune with. And it just, so happens to be, because the fact that, they brought it out on Netflix, the Mariposa del Barrio, and but I'm glad because that was real. That was raw. Everybody can relate to that. Everybody.
Yeah.
And I can't lie, I don't want you to sugarcoat nothing for me. I want it to be real. And that, so Jenny is the person that I've been like.
Shout out to Netflix. Netflix is bringing out all these Latino people, their own series, like with Selena and Jenny Rivera. And I think they did one for Luis Miguel. I'm not sure if that's who is his name, but they're coming out the gate with these, and it's like finally some kind of representation of not just but all kinds of Latinos that are making it. It's amazing, and I love it because it's more and more every day. I'm trying to learn more about my culture, growing up.
Because we're always portrayed as, the person outside that's cutting my grass, the person that's over there making me tortillas. Like, no lie. So we talk about this. So we've been in certain situations where we meet new people, and obviously they don't really know who we are, but they just know us because of our color, I guess, or whatever we represent, or as a performer, I speak Spanish when I sing, and so I'm meeting these different people, and we're they're wanting to take us out to eat. And so we're like, I eat anything from Chinese to Indian to, Arabic food, you name it, I like it, sushi, whatever. And it's so funny how the first thing that they say, we're like, well, we're kind of, they ask if we're getting hungry, and we're like, yeah, it'd be nice, what kind of places are here, that we can go to. And automatically never fails. And we have these conversations all the time where it's like, the first thing that they go to is like, oh, well, we have these places like El Tiempo, they have rice and beans and tortillas there. And it's like, they have like fajita burritos. And I'm just like, I can't help but to not like, I'm cool. Like I laugh about everything. I'm not uptight, at all. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm just like, are you like, right? Do you get that same vibe?
I do.
Are like, is it just me?
Yeah. And I think it's because they obviously don't see it that way. I have a lot of white and black friends.
Like that's all we wake up and like we're just eating beans and tortillas. Like maybe most of the time.
I mean, yeah, majority. I wake up, I have my charo beans and my my rice, but
right, it's on the stove. I'm all right. It's on the stove and shit. But seriously, but for real, at the same time, like. Don't like. I'm not saying that they're judging,
but don't assume that yeah.
Like, we're cultured, and so like by saying so, it's like okay, well we have these, like they just so easily just.
We have these great Mexican restaurants for everybody.
We got guacamole, we got guacamole and hot sauce, and we're just like. Well, I mean, we were thinking about just possibly getting a coffee and like an egg white from Starbucks, but no shit. Like I'm serious. We're like, but okay,
that's fine.
But okay, sure, I guess. I mean, we like a good taco, but like I wanted a latte. They're like, oh, you speak latte? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Latte? Quiero latte. Quiero una latte. What do I say?
Do people ever assume like, because I know you speak Spanish and all that, and, do they ever just speak to you in Spanish first and then not assume that you speak English sometimes?
I have. And it's so funny because I'm like, if you talk to me right now, do I really sound like I even have an accent? People are like, you sound like a güerita, I sound like a white girl, and that's just what my accent is.
It's our Texas accent.
Or whatever. Yeah. So it's so funny, but I have, and I'm just like, now that's a punch in the stomach, okay. Cause they'll really go to that extent where they're really trying to use the accent, like tenemos margaritos. And it's like, oh yeah, margaritas. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? And it's, and I'm like, just because I'm wearing this hat doesn't mean that I'm, or whatever it is that they're thinking, it's just, it's crazy. We go through these situations all the time. And which is funny, I know that we kind of talked past that, but you were talking about how you started this whole podcast thing.
Yeah.
Your whole music stuff wasn't where you wanted it to be, but as a band. And we were just talking about this on the way back from San Antonio, because I was like, man, we should do a podcast. So it's funny that you're saying that, and we were just talking about, because the fact of how we are, like she said, it cultured, because I'm like, what is it with people that are, do we just like have it on our foreheads? Because like, if you see me in person, I'm pretty pasty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like very light skin, don't have that Mexican accent, I guess, or whatever. But still, so I'm like, dude, this would be so interesting just to get some feedback to see what people think, right?
You should. I highly suggest you should. Being somebody who's been born here, I've been also targeted as somebody, who's been. Do you speak? So there's a story. I work for HISD, so I'm a truck driver. I deliver the food for the kids and stuff like that. Cool. So I had a security officer come to me, and he's like, hey, I need you to speak Spanish to these ladies to tell them about something. And he started trying to like speak to me in Spanish, like broken down Spanish. And to be honest, I don't really speak Spanish. I know a little bit of it, but I'm not very fluent. So when he's telling me this, I'm like, okay, what do you want me to tell them? And he's like, oh, tell them this and this and that.
You're like, you realize that I don't speak Spanish, right?
But the funny part is I went up to them and I told them, hey, he says he wants you to go do this and this and that. Oh, okay, that's cool. And his face turned white. He was a very nice black guy, but his face turned white because he was so embarrassed.
As it should.
And I'm like, dude.
It should, because it's like.
But also, too, as well, when I'm out there in the field, there's a lot of Hispanic ladies at the school who speak to me in Spanish, and I'm like, I know you speak English. I speak English. You can hey, you can speak to me in English. It's okay. You don't have to, assume, And it's funny because it's like, okay, they assume I speak Spanish because I'm, I look other things as well. But it's like, no, I speak English. Like you said, I sound like a white guy, And it's not my fault because it's just how my dialect is. And, we still have that Southern drawl accent that not a lot of people can hear other than us. And, but.
Right.
But, it's funny how we get kind of like characterized like, hey, this is this person and this is,
Yeah. And so this is a great example. So I was invited out to perform for a Cinco de Mayo performance as Selena, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity. And it was a very up-class, a very privileged, dwelling. The people that were there, yes, they were all white people, which is fine. I go there, and the people that are with me is like, yeah, it's me, and yeah, my friend Jessica, and yes, we are Mexican, and of course I'm portraying Selena, who is Mexican American. And anyway, so we go in there, and they wanted to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Okay, I don't know why, because it's not like they're celebrating their independence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're Americans, Right. So we get there, and the entire house was decorated in cactuses and piñatas. They made sure that they ordered El Tiempo food because it's Spanish Mexican food. They made sure that they had all the little dishes that Mexican people would eat.
Mm-hmm.
There was either Oh yeah, sombreros. There was so they had this like really big, beautiful pool in their backyard. It was Houston. Those big houses, marble floors. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Definitely into money. And then they hire me as a Selena impersonation. But again, it seems like as if I was a party favor,
Hmm.
right? And so for them, it wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they may have been a Selena fan, but it seemed more like a party favor. Like, oh, okay, well, this is a Mexican theme, so we have to get a Mexican singer, right? And who's right now that's popular? Oh, let's get a Selena impersonation.
And
And
yeah,
it
we
was we were just like very thankful and grateful, but it just to see that was just like, wow, like they had cactuses and like things floating in their pool. It's almost like how we explained. I don't know if it's okay for me to talk about that, but we were saying like we did a cracker party. Okay, if we did a white, like we just decided that we wanted to like a different cultured party. So say like they were celebrating Cinco de Mayo,
yeah.
they're showing their independence, and if we decided that we wanted to celebrate white people as Mexican, we're going to go and get everything that white people. So we're going to throw like crackers everywhere. We're going to go and get hot dogs and things that we
Yeah.
think that I don't know, but I'm just saying, or like black people or Indian people, what they would eat. They would probably go and get hummus for Arabic, some Arabic people or something. It's just very like cool. It was for me. It was just like I was in shock.
I had that same idea. I think it was the other day. I was like, a lot of people they sell it. To be honest with you, this is my unpopular opinion. I really think we should just do away with Cinco de Mayo. It's kind of like, yes, it's a holiday where the people in Mexico do celebrate it with that certain part where they had their independence. But I feel like a lot of people used it for partying and an excuse. It's kind of like it's like a Hallmark holiday. It's like, hey, let's exploit this, let's do this and that. And God bless them. I know some people, they can't see in front of them. Let's dress in a sombrero and let's have the tacos.
The poncho is on. Let's wear ponchos and have a siesta.
And I don't think they see it as them being, I guess, culturally insensitive. I think that's the word.
Yes, that's a very, very good way.
Because they wouldn't do that for Black History Month, or they wouldn't do anything like that. And
no.
Because it's like, and I feel you how it was like you were very glad to be there, but it was kind of like, I feel like I'm meant for this because of the theme and everything. It's like I'm the little fixture on the top of the cake. Like,
and basically, yes, the party favor that top the cake.
It's
for them, yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't see that. I think as our culture, we kind of keep on the low. And it's like, oh, they're celebrating Cinco de Mayo again. Ted and Darcy are dressed up as Pancho, as Pancho Villa and Frida Kahlo. But hey, it's fine. Hey, you have that margarita? Okay, yeah, cool. Hey, we'll celebrate with them. But I feel like we as a culture, we don't really say, hey, we don't like that. And but there's little murmurs here and there. Hey, look, I don't. To me, like I said, personally, let's do away with that. I feel like it's very culturally insensitive, and it's kind of like
it is.
It's not cool.
It is insulting in a way, because it's like, okay, so then they made sure they got each beer right, like a Corona, a Dos Equis, a Modelo, or something like that. It's like,
and it's like most of us don't even like that kind of beer.
That they drink White Claws and and then. Come on, bro. Like, don't play. Like, we get it. You're celebrating brown people. That's cool, I guess.
Well, Amanda, let me ask you this too. Have you ever dealt with kind of racial stuff, like racial incidents, like racism, I guess, during your whole, thing going on? Have you dealt with that before on the road?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Have you dealt with like sort of racism, I guess, on the road? Because being a Hispanic in different parts of the country and stuff like that, I know some people they don't see it, but I know they can be racist towards our kind of people. Have you ever dealt with that on the road before?
No, not really. Yeah, I think that was no, not really. I mean, I know that we've been into different restaurants. Like yesterday, as a matter of fact, we were stopping in this cafe to get something to eat, and we weren't from that small town. And it was right before was it right before Buda? Yeah, right before Buda. And so, me and my other teammate go in there, and of course I guess I'm too brown. I don't know. I thought it was white and pasty, we walk in there, and she just walks right past us, and we're just like, okay, maybe she's having a bad day. But then again, she was just very rude, But everybody, she was serving the other people, but not us. And so I don't know. It's really hard to even say that if she was being racist or not. But it did take her a while to greet us and to actually say at the very last minute when it was like 5 minutes before it's too late to order food. So we're just like, well, okay, we'll forget it. All right, that's cool. We just wanted to try your coffee. We were right down the street. We're not from here. And, just almost like, well, then what are you doing here? But in reality, no. And in any other places, no, we never really had those run-throughs except for that one time, really. I guess I would consider that was that.
Yeah, small towns like that. I have a cousin that lives in San Marcos, and I have his older brother lives in Buda, and I know how those small towns operate. They can smell it on you that you're not from either Austin or San Antonio. They're like, oh, you're from Houston. You smell different. It's like they kind of have like this different attitude towards us, And me and my cousin, we have gone to bars and stuff like that where it was like a honky tonk, and we walk in there, and it's kind of like, okay, maybe we shouldn't come in here. It's kind of like let's get off the back real quick.
You kind of heard the music go skirt when you walked in.
And we love, like I said, we love country music. We grew up with that too as well.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, we're from Texas. I mean, boot shooting boogie. I mean, come on, when it comes on, I'm about to go do that line dance. No way.
But it's like
rodeo's here. We're about to take off the rodeo. But
it's like when a bunch of Hispanics come in there and they're not dressed in that. It's kind of they look at you and they're like, what are these guys doing? And it's kind of like,
that's how we felt. That's actually how I felt yesterday. So yeah, and we're just like, well, maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Maybe they feel they see you and they're like, oh, it's a Selena person here. We got to be great to her, and stuff like that, because they'll come and haunt us,
Right? She's gonna come get you.
So you said that you've met the Quintanilla family. How was that experience for you?
Actually, it was very pleasant. So the first time that I met them, that was for the release of the wax figure in Hollywood. I had won I was one of the winners in the contest. There was 5 winners, and they invited me out to be a part of the VIP top 500, invitations, to be passed out to us. Mm-hmm. And we were at the top of I forgot what tower we were at, but it was really cool, and that's where the Madame Tussauds towers, and so they were out there. I got to meet Chris. You could just tell, like you just kind of gravitate towards him. He's very humble, very nice. Oh, look, my earring just fell out. That's funny. The Selena's earring always fell off. Maybe that was a sign because I was talking about Chris. She's like, "But girl, you better not be talking about my man." No, I just teasing. But so it's he was very nice. Immediately just embraces you. He hugged me like as if he knew me. It was really cool. Very nice. I went dressed as myself. I did not dress as Selena. Other people did, but I wanted to go because I wanted to go for her. Not for in clout or anything like that. It's more, I wanted to be there.
Being kind of like a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, that was the first time. Like, hello, like brown power. Like we're here. We're gonna see a Latina in Madame Tussauds next to Marilyn Monroe, next to all. You know what I'm saying? Like this is awesome. This is amazing. This is coming up,
Yeah.
And so so I met the sister. She was very nice, and we took pictures. I met AB, very nice. I didn't really get to meet the mom and the dad. They were right there, mm-hmm. But I think that for them, this is seeing Selena again, not in the flesh, but again, kind of, because they knew her in the flesh. They knew what she looked like, and so for them, I couldn't imagine that would be the hardest thing. I couldn't imagine somebody making a wax figure of my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. I'd freak, And what a privilege to be able to have that, to see that she's going to be representing something and that she's going to be there forever so that people can continue to talk about her. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, right? Like, so after we're done and gone, she'll still be there in that wax form, and her story will continue to be going on, and that's what I want. I want for all of us, for other people to know and not just let the brown people dwindle away and we're just going to be here in the traditional things that we should be uniformed as, it's not what it is. And, but yeah, so the family was super nice. The mom and dad were over there on the side. We were super close to them, but, I wasn't like trying to gawk over them or anything, so yeah, but it was super cool. Very nice.
Yeah. Chris looks like he looked like a person I would want to be friends with,
Right. like your average
Average-
like next door neighbor, like,
yeah,
hey, you're
like
gonna
an
cut the
older
grass
cousin or
today?
something
Yeah.
like that, you know. I got to see Chris, I think, was it 2 years ago, I think before the pandemic, we at the Warehouse Live here in Houston. I won
Okay.
tickets. I won tickets to his band's show. So me and my
Oh, cool.
girlfriend went, and it's kind of like surreal because it's like, you know, it's Chris Perez, you know, Selena's husband, and it's kind of like you. It's not her, but it's kind of like that's somebody that's a part of her life. So it's kind of you. It's like seeing her, I guess, in a way, you know.
Yeah, it's like you kissed her, you hugged her, like, you know, you seen her
Yeah.
say, you know, like, you know, you were in the flesh with her, like, yeah, I get it,
And his band is really good. He's a great guitar player. You know, like seeing the movie and then, you know, seeing him play in real life, it's kind of like the dude's great. He's great. And his
Right.
hair, you know, all the girls just love his hair, and
Oh, yeah,
you know, he's
big
flipping
and
it,
curly.
and you know, it was a really great show. You know, the light was, the color they lighted up was purple, you know, of course, for Selena and stuff like that. So it was, yeah, it was really great. And you know, I didn't get to meet him personally, but I really would love to have him on my show, you know. And I know he's done a lot of talk shows, and I know he's doing a lot of things because he's writing a book and stuff like that. But I would really love to have Chris Perez on the show, you know.
Have you ever tried to reach out to him?
I haven't yet. I'm kind of like keeping on with my schedule, you know. I have a couple shows. Yeah, I have
Okay,
people
well, quit
recording.
making excuses and do it.
Okay, right
You
there.
should. If your vibe's telling you to do it, I think that he's such a humble person. Like I've seen him do interviews with other people that I never even heard of just recently, because you know, obviously Selena's, you know, death comes around every year. The celebration of her life and everything comes around, you know, and we're celebrating her all the time. So he's willing, you know, he's wanting to tell her story.
Yeah.
He's wanting to talk about her. I know he is. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have done the things that he's already done with other people, talked to other people. So, you know, I definitely think that you should. I think that would be a great thing, you know. That would be awesome.
He's on my list. So I have a list of people who I want to have on my show. You know, I have him. I
hit
have
list.
Paul Wall. Yeah, pretty much a hit list. You know, and so with May coming around and then June, usually I take a break, you know, from my podcast for mental health issues, because you know, once you work too hard, sometimes I go crazy, and you know, you kind of have to take it slow. So I take it slow every summer. And
I'm opposite. If I stay at a slow pace, then I go crazy. I'm like full of energy. I need to figure out where to put all this, you know, and I put in my work into my work.
But I think I made a decision that during the summer I'm not going to be releasing episodes, but I'm still going to be recording with certain people. So I might reach out to Chris and see if he'd love to be on my show. You know, like I said, I've always kind of like gravitated towards him. Like he's such a great person. You know, like you said, he has a story to tell. You know, and I would just love to get to know him and be cool with him.
And that's firsthand. I mean, you know, that was his wife, and he probably knew way more about her than her own family, because you know, you tell things to your husband more than if you would your mom and dad, because you want them to think that everything is great, you know. So I'm sure they had amazing stories, you know. I'm sure he has. So that's the story that I would love to hear. I would love to hear that. Like, we've seen the Selena movie, we've seen what Selena's about, and of course she represented so many things. It's great, and what she means to us as, you know, Mexicanos. And now it's like, now I want to know who she really, you know, behind closed doors, who she really was, not in the costume and that beautiful, you know, wardrobe that she had, just her in a t-shirt and with her husband, you know, what she inspired, other things that she aspired to do. And, you know, that's the Christmas story is what I would really let out. Now, if you get that, you're going to blow up.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I haven't told anybody. I've told a couple people, but I haven't told anybody on my show. I'm actually getting to interview one of the Quintanilla family members.
Oh, cool.
So,
which one?
I can't say.
Oh,
You're just gonna have to wait. You're just gonna have to wait till next month. But I am.
Cool. Well,
I am recording with
that's
him.
awesome. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I reached out to him. Well, there's a couple. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, you know, I've been following you. Hey, let's do an episode. And they're sure, yeah, let's do an episode. So I'm recording with them next week, but the episode will be coming out next month. So,
Fantastic.
but I got all my posters, my flyers, and everything ready.
Make sure you get all your little questions you're gonna ask them. Get it out.
But it's like I said, it's very cool getting to know, you know, that side of the family, and especially like I'm going to be interviewing a member of the family and just like interviewing them and getting to know, hey, how does it like this, and you know, what is it like to be a Quintanilla, you know, because there's so many people that are named Quintanilla, but if you're part of the Quintanilla family, it's like a whole different vibe. It's like, you know, how does life for you, you know?
Thank them. I mean, yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So what do you think about the Selena TV show? What did you think? What is your rating for that?
So I actually really loved the music. As far as like, not like, but I like the vibe of like the 80s and like the early 90s. Like I've always been into that type of music. Like that, I in my car, I'll jam that out all the time, you know. I love that part of it. I loved that in the first season that they did share just a little bit more, you know, about, you know, how the mom, you know, at first, you know, they weren't sure what the problem was, you know, when she was pregnant with Selena. And just a little bit more about, I understand, you know, we always knew about the struggles they had to get through. I mean, that's with anybody in any type of career. You know, not everything is handed to you. So I did appreciate that they did show a lot of that. I'm just hoping for more realness, you know, the more raw, you know, because we know the superstar and we know the humble person that she was, and, you know, how in tune she was with her fans and as a performer, and, you know, obviously untouchable, you know, just, so yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting to see more. So it's kind of hard to kind of say where I'm at and in that rating, but I really did love the vibe of the 80s and like the whole looks and everything like that they did for the clothing and stuff. So that's kind of funny because, you know, they're bringing back all those old memories of how people used to dress back then and stuff. So to see all those things are really, really cool. But yeah, so I'm hoping for the next season that it's just going to be hopefully a little bit more different than the actual movie, because we already seen the movie.
Yeah, that's what I told a lot of people about that. Yeah,
you know, J-Lo portrayed her to the T. I mean, to the T. You know, she had the body, the charisma, everything that needed to be represented for Selena. Unfortunately, she wasn't Mexican, and everybody had a big, you know, problem with that. But it is what it is, because she did her job.
Still Latina, so.
Yeah, exactly that. And, you know, but she did her thing, and there's nobody else that could have done that, you know, and that's why she had that role. And so I'm just hoping that we get more than just the movie, because in that case, I could just watch the movie all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and with this series, it's like watching the movie again, you know.
I actually did a review episode about the Selena series, so I enjoyed it a lot. You know, awesome. Like you said, a lot of people were like, I can watch the movie if I want it. But what I really liked about the TV show is that they kind of went more in depth. You know, I didn't know that the family had to foreclose on their restaurant. I didn't know that they were poor, that they had to live in with other family members. I didn't know this. You know, I didn't know that Selena, they had to take out Selena from school, and she was pretty much home. I mean, I knew she was homeschooled in a way, but like I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know they were touring and this and that. I didn't know how they met Pete. So it's really great how they took pretty much the foundation of, you know, the movie or whatever, and then kind of added so many other things, expanded it, and, you know, and it's great to see how everything, how like certain songs were written, you know, interactions with certain people and stuff like that. And it's great. I enjoyed the show. Like I said, I gave a good rating on my episode, and I'm very excited for season 2. You know, I think with this season 2, it's going to be more of like a slingshot to like everything, all the stuff she was in, you know, the big, huge celebrity, but then also kind of like behind the scenes of like what was going on, you know, during all that stuff. And, you know, it's going to be really hard for a lot of people too, because everybody knows what's going to happen. And, you know, it's very sad. A lot of people get choked up about it. So I know a lot of people are kind of like, how are they going to portray this? And, you know, and I know that lady who's portraying Yolanda is going to get all the flack. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, you know, as me, as, you know, being an actress and playing the part of Selena in that docudrama that I did for Reels Network, which is based off of facts, you know, and based off of all the documentation that they went through, you know, leading up to, unfortunately, what had happened. And, you know, and I knew a lot of people, you know, even for me, I mean, it was very hard for me to portray that moment, you know, because you see her live, you see her alive and full of life, and you're performing her, and you're just like feeling it, and people are there cheering you on, even though this is like a set, you know, you have people dancing. They're still into it. They think it's like the real deal, and like everybody's in it. I'm a fan myself. You know, it's not like me being Selena. They wanted me to play the part as the actress. I'm being an actress. I'm role playing this, for them and as me, but I'm still a fan. So it hurt me very much to have to get to that part, to know that tomorrow is the day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the day that we are going to be recording that she is passing. And unfortunately, it's factual. That is what happened. And man, I tell you, I got so much backlash from that, but it's an unfortunate thing. But again, it's what really happened, and, just still thinking about it till this day. I mean, it was funny because even afterwards, like even, Jessica, recording me afterwards and was just like, how do you feel? We were crying. It wasn't even just me. It was like the director, the people that were recording, the person that played Yolanda. I tell you, whenever we were there and we first met for the first days, it was very weird how knowing that person is not the real Yolanda, but the whole crew is like in the bus, right? Mm-hmm. We're all there getting dressed, getting into our roles, putting the hair on, doing the wardrobe. And they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen today. The scene with Selena and Chris, Amanda, this is what you're going to be doing. And here comes Yolanda. The girl is playing Yolanda. Like, we're calling her Yolanda. And I'm just like, I'm not even, my cheeks kind of clench. I was like, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally, I get that. It's kind of, it's like you're living the moment and you're like, oh, it's her. And, a lot of
right, because where this is leading to, because you're sitting here thinking like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a concert today. We're going to do these fun stuff like the what they were doing, her, AB, and all of them, being brothers and sisters and what they were going through in their daily lives and stuff. And dun, 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 she walks in. And I felt so bad because even me and Jess were like talking to each other. We're like, do we talk to her? Like,
it's kind of like you don't want to, yeah.
Listen to this. And we were like, do we even, because like we take pictures for everything because we want to document ourselves of everything that we've been able to accomplish in this lifetime, who wouldn't want to document that? And so we're like, knowing that she's like an Elizabeth, or whatever her name, and we're like, do we take pictures with her knowing that she's playing that part? Even though like we're going to be in the crew and we're taking a picture for fun and we're going to post it on Instagram and everybody's going to freak out, how disrespectful, and I get it because we were all like that. So for me, it was just like, but she did her part so well. She was in her role playing the entire time. She didn't really look at me like that. She's very nice though. It's so funny because like afterwards we're just like, okay, so we can laugh together, right? Like, we're okay, this is cool. Like we're like just average people. Like we're playing these people. We're playing these parts of a real person, an actual factual life that someone lived, and I tell you, it was so hard and to see her, and she was even crying and in a lot of the parts that we knew that were coming up and how it ended up turning out. We're all like, yeah, she said because like she felt so dark because like she had to really get into this role of someone that was really psychotic, that obviously had some issues, personal issues, and to where afterwards she kind of felt messed up in the head to where after she played those parts, she had to just like she would watch nothing but cartoons. And she was telling us this, and because of the fact that she was just so
into the role.
Yeah. And she was just like, oh my God, I'm really not that person. Like, oh my God, I feel sick. Oh my God, I feel, so for her, she just needed to find a happy place, but she did a damn good job. She did a damn good job on her part. And, like I said, I try to, it's a docudrama, everything based, and you hear the lawyer talking about it, the guy that had fought for her. So you see all the people that did all the documentation and all the people that were in her, like her lawyers and things like that, the detectives and all those things, so it was all factual. So this was not something that was just to be made up so that we could get ratings. It's just, those docudramas that we did. And it was super hard. We were all very emotional to have to do that. And I hated that I was going to be doing that part too, because we knew that we were just being live. And so it was so much fun to know that it was going to be coming to an end and how it ended, especially knowing that she was person that we look up to, and it was just like, this is where we end. So like, this is it, and yeah, so it was super hard to have to do that, but oh yeah. So that's another very good point. So Yolanda was getting into her role, the girl that was playing her part, and getting very dark, like surrounded by pictures of Selena and just becoming this psychotic, obsessive, possessive person. And me knowing, unfortunately, the distance, by facts, the detectives and things like that, wanting me to run a certain distance and to understand what it was. So I really had to go through this. So I literally, in order to make myself break a sweat and to be panicked, I ran like how many times around the complete hotel complex? Like, I don't know how many times I did. Yeah, I ran it like 2 or 3 times, and I couldn't tell you how many miles that was, what that was to play that part, to do that. They wanted me to understand, it wasn't just like, okay, so you're going to do this part. Like, this is what's, not, it was serious. You had the cops, you had the, like, oh my God, it was pretty intense. It was very intense. And to have to get to that point to where you knew where was she shot at, what was going to happen in the moment, what was she thinking, covered, that's what I didn't want to say, but covered in blood, because in reality, unfortunately, she bled out.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that they, being by facts, they wanted to show, and the struggle of her trying to make it there, and literally her heart pumping all of her blood out of her artery and getting to that point to where it was the end. That,
I can,
like, I think everybody was like a moment of silence for everybody, even the people, because we actually did it in a real hotel, and it was still running, it was open, people were coming, people were still behind the counter and stuff like that watching this, and they're just like speechless.
It's like a moment in time.
Yeah. And their experience, people were emotional. People felt sick. People were just like, what is, like, just afterwards, imagine, like, I cried in the shower because there I am rinsing myself off of this fake blood, and just thinking, it's just so sad. Oh, just even thinking about it right now, it's sad.
I can only,
like, I don't feel privileged to be like, yeah, I played that part. For me, I felt privileged as, a Mexican American to portray someone that allowed me to have something like this, that paved a way for me. Now, however, unfortunately, the way that she passed is not what I'm proud of or what I would have ever liked to play. But that is what, unfortunately, really happened in her life, and that's definitely one thing that I've always wanted to talk about, because, I got a lot of backlash for that. I am a fan. I'm a hardcore fan of Selena. By doing that, that was not to gain any following because of that. It was complete opposite for me. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Just like yourself, knowing where you come from. We're one and the same. We're actually in the same boat. I just live in a different neighborhood. I'm down the street from you. I'm no different of what your family does. I don't know what your family does for a living, but I'm saying, I'm sure that we all had that strive. I mean, were y'all all born and raised here, or was your family from Mexico, or were they, obviously, where did they come from?
Yeah. My parents are from here. Two of my grandparents were born here in America, and Texas. But we all know Texas was a part of Mexico, so we're all we're native here. But yes. What you were saying about that portrayal that you did, I remember the kind of the headlines that I saw, the whole backlash and stuff like that, and I can only imagine what the girl that playing Selena now, what's going through her mind having to play that part in that scene. I can only imagine how she feels right now portraying that, because that's a huge part to take on. That is, and
I think for us, especially because as Latinos, we're so protective and so passionate, that I think it comes with our package in anything, like in anywhere you're at. Even if it's someone new, you're going to look them up and down. You're going to have to sniff their butt a little bit like a dog and be like, where are you from? I need to know about you because I don't trust you. Or what are you about? You know what I'm saying? So imagine, I mean, for me coming out, like there's only one Selena. We all know that there will only be one Selena. Hello, that's it, period. And, but we're very protective people, and we're passionate about it. So, and I get it. Now I get it, because I was one of those people too, so the backlash and things like that, was very, I was taken back because I was like, but that's what really happened.
Yeah, it's a lot of people just don't understand, when they play certain parts in certain movies, who is it that they played so many times? But, there's so many people that portray other movie stars or actors or musicians that have to do those scenes too, but they don't get backlash. But I can see what you mean, that as us, that like the Latino community, we're very protective of Selena and Selena's image, and seeing that, it's like, no, we don't want it. We don't want to relive that. Cause there's people, like my family, my mom, had to see that. They heard the news, I was only 95. I was like 2 years old when that happened,
Right. So your family was very devastated.
And just knowing the whole, like I said, it's just crazy. And to see like the backlash, and I don't get why people are like that, but I understand why we are like that. But
right, you figured that you'd be supportive, but you know what? When really is our family really supportive? They are, but they'll give you a card and be like, "Oh, congratulations," but "Tu crees muy chingón or what?" Like you think you all that because you ain't. So like they'll congratulate you in a way, right? Like they're very insulting. They're very insulting. They'll pick on you. That's the way of them, right? Right? They should, like, that's how I was raised.
George Lopez said it right.
There's always an insult. You can never you're feeling good about yourself, and then they'll find something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? And there's always something, and it's like, okay, so you got a new career, but damn, you gained 10 pounds. Like, it's like always something, so
yeah.
So I get it. So as, Mexicanos, like they're just very passionate people, very protective. So you just can, how do we even say that? How do you even put that into words? So you're really never going to get the full support, It is love. Yeah, that is a form of love. But again, as much as that's why I'm saying. Yeah, for sure. We all do it. I'm guilty of it because that's how I was raised.
Same.
Right, you too, right?
It's like, oh yeah, you got all your stuff on, you're going to college. Oh, that's cool, but you still got all that debt you gotta pay. When you gonna pay me? Like George Lopez said, he's like, Mexicans are never happy for one another. It's like, oh, so you think you're bad, huh? Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, exactly. I just said it in Spanish. Yeah, so you think you're bad, right? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, but that's why.
But it's very
whatever.
Yeah.
You just be hating on him, and that's just how it is. And so, like you're talking about Kristen Serrato,
yeah.
Playing part. So, I mean, in every part, everybody's going to get the backlash. I mean, man, they ripped her,
yeah.
Of course, it's just a part of me, even for myself. So I get it, it is sad though, because you figure that they would be supportive of someone that we were so passionate about, but it's like they can't find it within themselves to do that, because it's like, well, you're not. You will never be her, and of course we know that. Yeah, I went J-Lo, but of course we all know that we're not her.
But it's being very brave, taking a role like that, being who she is and who she means to so many people. What you did with the role, and that's very brave, and her too as well. Christian's right, just. I know people were tearing her from limb. She doesn't look like her. She doesn't have the body. She doesn't. But she's an actress. She was hired to play that role. She played it very well. Even though she doesn't look like her, she still has the personality. She has the smile. She hung around her family to get, what she was like. And, I thought she was good. I can have a little crush on her. I'm just going to say that. But
no wonder.
But she did a very good job. She did a very good job.
Okay, I'm done.
But you did a very good job as well. Very brave of you to do that, Yeah. So, but I get it.
No. Yeah, but we're glad that you like your girlfriend. Yeah. Yeah, now we're hating on you now, right? But that's with love, because we're passionate.
Always. So, yeah. So, Amanda, tell me more about your music career. We've been talking, all this about Selena's music career, but I know you're launching your own music career as well. Tell me more about that.
yeah, so it is amazing that I, got to this point, that it's built to this point. But, working with my team, I've signed with the record label Street Science Entertainment. And we've been working together. I have my producers out of Corpus Christi. We got together and we had these concepts of what we wanted. We wanted to make this new sound, and still keep our traditional roots, knowing that we're, the new, like, cumbia americano is what we would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so very upbeat, fun. So, we got together and just basically, just like any other artist and writer, that, when they make their music, is about their lives. So basically every song that we basically wrote, actually the first one that we had wrote, which we haven't released yet, but I have performed many times. I performed it on ABC for the Christmas special. And so like that one was the first one, which is Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some other ones. So I have 7 songs, or 7 because of Christmas song. And that, I tell you, we wrote a Christmas song this year, and literally we wrote it like in 2 weeks. I had it done and mastered within 2 weeks, performed it for the Christmas special, which is awesome. I don't know if you heard it.
I didn't hear it, but I saw the pictures and the videos of you doing the ABC thing for here. I was so like, wow, that's crazy, It's
so cool, right? I know there's so many other things that I felt that, but I'm glad that you've seen other things that I've done. But yeah, I mean, all the privileges that I've had, I think it's great. And for me to actually be able to not only still portray Selena, but again, do myself and represent myself as Amanda, because at the end of the day, I will, I will only be Amanda. I will always be. And so yeah, it just was really cool, because now I'm able to tell my stories and like what I go through on my daily, in my daily life. And so there's 7 songs on my EP that's going to be dropped this year, which is called the Quinceañera Queen. And we just decided to go with that and do the more cumbia americano kind of mixes, fun upbeat, because although I do perform at different fiestas, different performances like that, but mainly a lot of quinceañeras. And so for that, we were like, man, we see like all this new generation of, new music, what they listen to. And we just happen to see this new, like, we have already known what zapateados are.
Yeah.
But how many are there really out there? Not very many. You hear the same thing, kind of like the Tejano music.
Yeah.
It's a replay of a replay of a replay of it. You know what I'm saying? The same songs that we listen to, the same, and we were just like we're literally like in the airport, and we're like, we hear a song, we're like, you know what, we could really go with this. Like, and we just start, that's just how it goes. And it's funny, you're just like in the airplane, we're like, dude, that'd be so cool. And then again, at the quinceañeras, back to the quinceañera talk, we're there and we see like all these people dancing stuff with yells, and we're like, dude, like we could totally rock that out. Like, I mean, if this is what I'm doing, they're having me perform as Selena, I can, introduce myself as Amanda, Solis, and be able to do this. And that's how we came up with Quiebra la Bota. And that was the first song, my first single that I dropped. And it's a zapateado. And so unfortunately, COVID came in after we had dropped it. We were planning on, performing the song at all the quinceañeras.
Yeah.
And so fortunately, now that things are reopening up, I did my first quinceañera this year, and I was able to perform it. And I tell you what, it was like roaches coming out, just came out, and they just, you can see it on on my Instagram. We try to document everything to share, all the fun things that we do. But everybody went out there and started dancing to it. And it was just like, finally, after a year that, we drive like, dang, because everything just went pause, So, but yeah, now, so we dropped 2 more songs, Loquita, which is another song that I absolutely enjoy, which I'm actually transitioning to do it in English as well, because all of them are kind of Spanglish, but more Spanish.
Yeah.
But yeah, Loquita, I don't know if you've heard Loquita, but
yeah, I have.
Loquita, Loquita. Well, that one basically was us getting together, and we came up with this concept because of the fact of all the hate that I was getting. And so it's like, esto es para ti y todas las chismosas que le gustan hablar de mí, right? So it's like, this is for you and all the haters that love to talk about me, and it's just basically coming back and just telling them, I'm gonna continue to do what I do regardless of what you say. I'm proud of who I am, and this is what I represent, and so I'm really excited to be able to already have performed in a live audience, on television, my own music already as Amanda Solis that has nothing to do with Selena. Selena is a completely different entity. That is, I will never be able to that. I want that. Those are her shoes, and these are my shoes over here. And so it's amazing. I feel super privileged, and I'm grateful that, other people, love my music as well. So hopefully we are going to be dropping another single, hopefully pretty soon. So it's a seven, so it's be my EP with 7 songs on it this year called The Quinceañera Queen. So
I love that name, the Quinceañera Queen. That just sounds bomb as AF.
Right?
It's just the Quinceañera Queen. And just have that intro music come in when you come to the party. Oh, that's so awesome.
Exactly, and that's basically like how we've seen it. Because that's my personality. All the time. That's me. And that's what we really, we were just trying to come up with. Just be creative. This is what we love. We sat there all night. Eating while we're, figuring out what, working with our producers, and came up with these cool sounds and different. Every song on my EP is so different. I think that everybody expected that it was going to be like, oh, she's going to do Selena, and there's only one Selena, right? And it was so cool to be able to be like, bam, like this is me, and it's not the same sound. This is a different sound, and because this is my style, so it's just really cool. And so yeah, each song is very different. As you can tell, que ahora le botas a zapateado. Loquita's like a crazy, like party, like, hey.
Yeah, I've seen all your social media stuff, and I've seen like you behind the scenes and your outfit. I'm like, this is gonna go off.
You're like, who is that? But I thought you, right? And then, because although you see me more mainly in my Selena getup because it's a Selena fan page along with my own stuff. But fortunately, I've been booked with all my Selena stuff. So that's why you see me more in Selena getup. But again, you'll still see me as myself. Like right now, I'm not dressed as Selena at all.
Yeah.
Like I have her on the teeth. Oh shoot, yeah, I gotta get dressed here in a minute. But again, like I'm me myself. So it's just great to be able to have something now to be like, okay, so yes, I'm not Selena. Here's my, and now it's out on all digital platforms. All my singles that are out there right now. And so this by the end of this month, we're going to be dropping, I don't think we're going to drop it that soon, but we're going to be shooting it. And so I'm really excited about that. So everybody can see that there is an Amanda Solis.
All right.
And people are, and are taking that and they're calling me by my first name. And I think that's the transition. I think that's amazing.
Okay, well let's steamroll a little bit. So before we do that, I'm very excited for your music. Hopefully you come up with like a vinyl or something like that, because I love vinyl, so that would be really cool to have like a.
We were talking about vinyls too earlier because we love vinyls too good.
So okay, so this is the second part of the segment of the show. So we have this thing called unpopular opinions. Pretty much you rant your unpopular opinions, and I know you have to go and get dressed, but we'll do quick unpopular opinions, and then that would be it. So Amanda, do you have any?
I think I have one for you. I think if I'm not, I hope I got this right. So like for me, I don't like dolphins. I think they're overrated. First off, and people always ask me like, what? They're so nice. They're smart. You could swim with them. And I'm like, no. First of all, they are very sexual creatures, and I live by the water. I live by Galveston. I live by the dike, which there's dolphins everywhere that are close to the shore. I'm going to be out there swimming, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get humped by one of the dolphins. Like for whatever reason, they sense that they know that you're a woman, and they are instantly. I don't want to say the H word, but they're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And they're like,
it's like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, hello, yeah. And I'm like, I've seen this before, and like talking about it freaks me out. So people are like, seriously, like you're so dramatic, and I'm like, no, I think that they're overrated. People trust them way too much. I know that they're super smart, but I mean, they live in the ocean. We're different creatures. We live on the land. You go in there, and I'm going to go enjoy myself trying to soak up some sun. And next thing I know, I have a dolphin humping my leg.
I
You know what
totally,
I'm saying?
I,
Or like,
I
I don't
totally
know.
agree with you. I totally agree with you. They're underrated. They're not those Lisa Frank looking animals that you see on the covers. They're different. There's some creepy animals, but I totally agree with you. I see them at Galveston too, and I'm like, you crazy MFs. I know what y'all do at night, you
Yeah,
know.
and then with the bubble nose, like what if that goes up my culo?
Oh man, but
It happened. It freaks me out. So like, in any time people ask me, they're like, "Oh my god, but they're so beautiful!" Like we just came back from Destin, Florida, right? I performed over there, and we're literally sitting on the beach, and here is Jessica and I enjoying the sun, and then all of a sudden, in the blue water, you see these just like a family of dolphins, and here I am, my hands are getting clammy. And she's like, "Go ahead and go in." I'm like, no. I already know they're going to come. They'll probably sense me right now. They're coming over here to hunt me. I don't want to. Not even just me, just women in general. I don't know why. I've seen it. If you've ever seen the TikToks, there's other people that posted that they go and swimming with them, and then all of a sudden they're waiting like so they can touch them and get the feel of them. All of a sudden they jump on them and they're like
yeah.
No, I'm not down with that.
I totally agree with you. I get it.
I don't know. They're little.
They're creepy. Yeah, I totally get it.
It scares me. So Jessica always asks me, "What if I take you to SeaWorld or something like that?" And you'd see them. I'd freak. I don't know. It just freaks me out.
I'll go see the whales.
Yeah, I'm out.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. So, I'll do one, and then we'll go towards the end. So I personally think, and I've said this before, I personally think Pico de Gallo is overrated.
Pico de Gallo?
Yes.
Wow.
And I've gotten a lot of flack. They're like, but you're Mexican. You're supposed to like Pico de Gallo. And it's like, no, bro. I have my own taste palette. I personally don't.
But I'm not gonna lie. I'm on your side. and it's crazy because like I mean I would rather I don't like when they put Pico de Gallo. I mean I don't mind it. They'll put it on there, but most of the time I push it to the side.
Give me the mushy red salsa.
I'd rather take I'd rather have some hot sauce. Give me some hot sauce.
I totally agree. And like we were saying, my taste palette is very different. Sometimes I don't even eat guacamole. It's like very rare. Like, yeah, you can put guac on my torta or whatever. But I don't really personally eat it a lot. But like I said, those things are like I don't like pico. I've gotten a lot of flack for it. I don't care. Yes, I'm Hispanic. Yes, I'm brown. But I have my own opinion. I have my own taste palette, guys.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, I know.
So, but that's my unpopular opinion. But let's do this for a close. So, Amanda, please tell our guest where they can find you and where they can look for your music and all this and that. So,
yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you for inviting me to have this podcast. I really enjoyed it, and everybody out there that is tuning in, I really appreciate you for following me. But you can find me on all social media platforms. You can find me on Instagram at Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. It's spelled BIDIBIDIBOMBUM. And my name is Amanda Solis. And you can find me on Facebook at Amanda Solis Music, all one word. And you can find me on TikTok. Again, it's attached to my Instagram. So it's the same Instagram name as Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. And my music, as far as Amanda Solis Music, you can find all that on social media platforms. You can find me on YouTube at Amanda Solis Music. And you could find me on iTunes, Amazon Prime. You could find all my songs, Quiebra la Bota, Loquita, my Christmas song. What other songs? I'm trying to think of other platforms that they could find. TikTok, yeah. So basically all social media platforms. But if you see it, most of the time it'll be under Bitty Bitty Bum Bum, but it's spelled a little bit different. Like I said, BOMBUM at the end. But if you search Amanda Solis Music, you'll find me. But thank you so much for this opportunity. Just for allowing me to tell my story and, letting people know who I really am and what I'm really about, and I feel, privileged. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, thank you again for agreeing to it. I never thought that you would reply. That was kind of like, it's kind of like, she might not, she's so busy, but shout out to Jessica for putting this together. She's the one, she's the MVP. You both are great.
No, man, we support everybody, dude. Like we're no different than anybody else. Like I said, I'm here to support our people, our brown people. Like I said, anybody in general, right? Anybody in general. But again, I mean, we want to come up too, and because we deserve it.
Exactly.
We deserve to be next to those other privileged people at that table. We are just as, privileged. I mean, we should have the opportunity to.
And that's why I wanted to have you on the show because, like I said, my goal is to bring local people, people of color, people whatever, and bring them and show people, hey, look, there's this person here in Houston that that does this, and she's getting so much recognition. And like I said, you've been doing this all over the country, so I'm very very blessed and very privileged to have you on my show, like I said, and hopefully that all my listeners around the country and around the world get to know who the true Amanda Solis is and get to listen to her music and support her.
Thank you.
So,
like I would love to do this again for any other topics. I love talking about everything. I actually love this unpopular opinion thing that you know, I was like, what is that at first? And I was like, oh my God, that's totally like my field. Like if you knew me, there's no boundaries. Like I like to talk about everything, you know, and that's why I was telling you, I love to do podcasts, you know, of our own. But yeah, I mean, you know, you're inspiring me to be able to do this, you know, so that's fantastic.
Well, like I said,
if you continue to do it.
If you want to start a podcast, let me know. I actually help out people that want to start podcasts, so I can help you get your stuff ready. And
well, if I need a band, are you going to be available?
I could do your music for you. I could try to do your music. I don't know. We'll see.
But no, I just do that. But yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we're here for. And I will always make myself available. And unfortunately, yesterday just so happened to be, we were like here, driving everywhere, and there was no way to have access to be able to talk to you in a stable place like this. To you know, so I'm happy that we did this, and I thank you again. And I would love to do it again.
Yeah,
let me know. And anything that you want to talk about, I think it would be fantastic. And you know, every year is, you know, I think it's great that we're always celebrating Selena every year. You know, and everybody finds an excuse to celebrate Selena now. So I mean, in any situation, can let us know. And I hope that you get that interview with Chris. I hope that you really do.
Yeah, like I said, you're always welcome to be on Inside the Northside podcast. You are now inside the Northside family. What? That's it. You know, I will be sending you merch. Just let me know. Hey, send me this so I can send it to this address and stuff like that. I got some new merch. I got some stickers. I got some pins. I'm working on some other stuff, but that's what I have right now. Awesome. But like I said,
you're big time. You're big time.
Trying to be the best podcaster in H-Town. You know, that's what I want to do. But yes, again, thank you again so much.
You're welcome.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to everybody. You know,
shout out to my team, Street Science Entertainment, and everybody that tuned in. I really appreciate my hometown, Texas City. Everybody who loves my Selena tributes. I love you. Thank you so much. And again, follow me as Amanda Solis. I really appreciate you. And thank you again.
No problem. All right, guys. Well, this has been the episode with Amanda. I hope you have a great day. You too, Amanda, as well.
I'm about to go up and perform.
Well, have a great performance. And we'll talk to you later, guys. As I always say, God bless and peace. And we'll see y'all later.
Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.